What's up? Bonus training here, and I want to talk a little bit about how your brain chemicals work and perhaps get a little bit more in depth with the science, because I always say, oh, I don't want to bore you with the science, and I realize, you know what? It's not boring. It's freaking magic. It's freaking fascinating. And the second that you can deeply honor that and come into an understanding of how your own physiology works, the more empowered you are. So I made a very conscious commitment to myself and my business and to my clients to not say that anymore, and to give myself permission to go a little bit deeper and talk about the science. Somewhere along the lines, I picked up the belief that no, everyone else thinks the science is boring, and I'm the only nerd who thinks this stuff is cool. Well, you know what? I'm pretty sure that if you've been with me for a while, you probably think this stuff is pretty cool too. And if you don't, that's fine. I honor that, but I think it is cool. So I'm going to rap a little bit about your brain chemistry, and I'm going to talk specifically with regard to fear, because it's something that obviously I deal with a lot for mindset coaching, but it has so much anchoring in your physiology, so much. So let's get right into fear and the physiological response to fear, and how you can, on a very deep biological level, really learn to dance with it. So what I want you to do right now is drop into the role of an anthropologist. Okay, an anthropologist studies humans from an objective standpoint. And an anthropologist can study humans historically, humans, in the current environment. But typically it's like studying the human condition in a very objective way. So you're going to become the anthropologist for your own human study. And you're going to start observing your own mind outside of yourself. And that's really one of the most empowering ways that you can dance with fear. So you start to see it outside of yourself, because the fear is not you, right? And your thoughts, your mind, what your thoughts are saying are also not you, your essence and your soul. And that's not esoteric. That's just simply looking at the fact that as human beings, we have this amazing superpower called metacognition. And metacognition simply means that we have the ability to observe our own thoughts, right? So right now, you can say to yourself, I am thinking about a chocolate croissant. And you can see the chocolate croissant, and you can see yourself thinking about the chocolate croissant. But you can also, in your essence, be like, well, I am not a chocolate croissant. I'm thinking about one. I perhaps might go order one later, but I am not the chocolate croissant. Right? So you're separate from the thought. Okay. That's super cool, because it's the same thing with fear. What happens is fear comes up as our own deep prehistoric protective mechanism. And it's controlled by this tiny little piece of the brain called the amygdala. And the amygdala is very, very much a preserved part of our brain. In other words, it has not really evolved over the past 100,000 plus years of our human evolution. It's pretty much stayed the same. So we have this little prehistoric chip, and it is responsible for keeping us alive type of exercise, our heart rates have to go up, right? So that we can pump more blood to our working muscles. The muscles themselves have to tense up a little bit to perform contractions so that we can move. Our breathing rate has to go up so that we can pull in more oxygen to create more energy, right? Our bodies have to be able to pull blood sugar out of our muscles for quick use, and have to also use oxygen that we're pulling in from the air to create longer, more sustainable energy if we have to run for a longer amount of time. And of course, we are releasing fatty acids into the bloodstream, which are broken down into sugars to be used for energy. And our vessels themselves have to constrict a bit so that we can push that blood as quickly as possible to all of the working muscles. It also means that we have to shut down other functions, because the body is like, let's drive every ounce of energy we have into survival, into fight or flight, into this movement. So our digestive functioning shuts down, our rest and relax functions shut down, we literally cut off our supply of melatonin, serotonin, oxytocin, all of our feel-good and relax hormones, and our body now floods itself with adrenaline, norepinephrine, of course cortisol, which is the signifier of the fight or flight. And all of these chemicals are responsible for, again, increasing heart rate, increasing breathing rate, driving us into a state of, oh my gosh, I have to get out of harm's way right now. It also shuts down other pieces of the brain, like our right hemisphere of the brain, which controls our imagination, and not as much the left. The left is responsible for making quick decisions. So our left hemisphere is staying ignited, and it's also getting a big dopamine hit, because the quick decisions that we make have to be life-saving. All right, so in prehistoric times, that's pretty fucking cool, right? But what about when you're in the car and somebody cuts you off and you're in traffic and you're going to be late and you're just sitting there, perhaps drinking a cup of coffee, and you're not performing any physical outlet, but you have this really freaking volatile internal environment going on. Your heart rate's up, your breathing rate's up, your blood pressure is up, your fatty acids, your bloodstream, your cortisol's up, your adrenaline's up, you're jacked up, right? Your amygdala is like, oh, I don't know the difference between being late for a meeting and being chased by a tiger. I'm going to give you the same stress response. You're reporting that you're in danger, so I'm going to make sure I protect you. And what happens is you do that, multiply that out 16, 18, 20 times a day, and you've created a situation where you have chronic hypertension, right? High blood pressure on a chronic basis. You've created a situation where you have high blood sugar because you're constantly fueling your body, but it's not using that sugar for anything, so it just stays floating around. So it sets your body out of harmony. Okay, that's one piece. The second piece that we want to look at now is kind of this deeper understanding of fear. And when we can understand it from a beautiful human perspective, where we have this ability to have metacognition and see the fear, see the thought that came up, right? That's what I talk about a lot. You have the thought creates a body sensation. You notice the body sensation. What does it feel like? Knot in my stomach, pounding in my chest, shoulders tense. What is that sensation? You can feel your breathing rate go up, you can feel your heart rate go up. Well, as much as you can feel all those things happening to you, is as much power as you have to mitigate that, right? That's the thing. Like, you're not your body's bitch. You have all the power. You are your body. You are not your mind. You are your body. You are not your mind. Your body is you. So, let's say you think about paying bills and you're like worried about your bank account, and you have this physical response. In that moment, you can stop, right? And these are the steps I always talk about. You see the thought that caused that body sensation, and you then get to notice that it is fear. And now you're the anthropologist. And as the anthropologist, you can look at that and go, oh, isn't that interesting? The human just amygdala created this fear response and put her into fight or flight. Interesting, right? You can have this conversation with yourself. And as soon as you start doing that, you actually turn on more rest and relax. You are actually tapping into your parasympathetic nervous system, which is responsible for bringing your heart rate down. Right? So even though the fear is there, you're not telling the fear to go away. You're not suppressing it. That would be the worst thing to do because it will pop back up again. You're just kind of like observing it. Interesting. Okay, I see that this is happening. And then you can play with that. You can get deeper. Why do I have this fear about money, right? We can get into that on a much deeper level. But for the purpose of this training, I want to just stick with the physiology so that you have a real powerful working knowledge of your body. So you have this fear response, your amygdala got lit up, but now you're in the observer seat. Now you're playing anthropologist. And the next thing you want to do is just simply comfort that fear, right? The amygdala creates the physiological fear response because the fear, no matter what it is, whether it's, oh my God, I'm going to run out of money, or oh my God, there's a tiger chasing me, or oh my God, I'm going to be late for this meeting, or oh my God, if I eat this, I'm going to gain 5 pounds, whatever the fear is, the amygdala is like, throwing up a fear response because there's something out there that's unknown. Or maybe it's like, oh my God, I want to start a new career, right? It's the fear of the unknown, because in the unknown, as human beings, that's death. What we don't know, we just, it's like an abyss, and it's freaky for the conscious, subconscious, and unconscious mind. Like, it's just an abyss. So, of course, we're going to throw up this fear response every time we feel like there's something uncertain, unknown in our horizon. And so, all we have to do to mitigate that fear is simply give the mind something to know. Show it what's on the other side. How do you do that? Guess what? You're the master of your own thoughts. So you want to start to feed the mind what it looks like on the other side of the fear. So for example, if it's like, oh my God, no money in my bank account, I don't know how I'm going to pay the bills, blah, 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 and you start circling the drain in a complete spin out of freak, oh shit, right? And once you turn on that fear, once you turn on that stress response to the fear, again, you're making these quick decisions, but you have shut off a bit of your left hemisphere where logic is there. And so you're out of logic, you're out of creation mode, you're out of love, you're out of sync, and it's just very much a reactive state. So you want to then say, okay, mind, thank you. I really appreciate what you're doing. You're doing your job, protecting me. You see something as a threat, you see the unknown. You're throwing up the fear response. I feel my heart rate going up. Thank you so much. Here's what I know. And you take a deep breath. You say, I'm just going to let you know that everything is okay. And here's what's on the other side. We are completely capable of paying the bills. Or I now choose to believe that the universe will take care of me. The universe has my back. I now choose to believe that it's really freaking easy to pull in money. I now choose to believe that in the grand scheme of my life, what really matters is that I shine from my highest light. What really matters is that I take care of my body, right? Whatever those beliefs are, you're showing your mind what's on the other side. The second you do that, you disarm it. And again, it's not just about creating those new thoughts. The thoughts that you create, if you think them often enough, start a new belief system. And the physiology in that belief system is very, very simple. You've had those thoughts for so long, they've created very deep, grooved out neural pathways. Why? Because your brain itself as an organ sucks up so much energy. So it's always looking for ways to conserve. So once it sees that a thought is thunk, I think, thunk, once it sees that a thought is thunk often enough, it will set it on autopilot. How does it do that? It develops a strengthening of the protective coating around that neural pathway, right? So your neural pathways are coated in something called myelin, and the myelin gets thick, really, really thick, so that the impulse can jump faster from the message center in your DNA to the brain to cause the response, right? And as that myelin strengthens, it ensures that signal is going to get sent. And so that is actually what the physiology of a habit looks like. And then every single time that neural impulse gets to the brain secretes dopamine, and dopamine is highly addictive. So it's like, oh, I feel really good that I just made that decision, and I'm gonna do it again and again and again. And that's a habit. That's the physiology of a habit. Pretty simple. So if you want to create new thoughts, at first it's going to feel uncomfortable because you have to literally start to develop stronger myelin around a new neural pathway and dig that neural pathway in. And so it's going to feel clunky. It's like learning any new skill. You don't just automatically have it, but you practice it long enough and you will automatically rewire. You will automate. So you may get some kickback. You're going to think a new thought. It's going to feel really weird. Your body's going to be like, oh, that feels really weird. It's going to throw up a fear response because it's unknown. So you keep telling it what's on the other side, and over and over and over again until you develop the new habit. And that changes the entire structure of your life, because now you have a new belief, and that new belief is going to create a different behavior. That behavior is going to shape a different reality, and all of a sudden it's like you wake up and it's like, wow, the landscape of my life is, I can't even remember how I used to be. And it's not this overnight thing or this big aha moment. It's these micro alignments that I always talk about. But I wanted to dive in and give you this deeper understanding of your physiology around this, because then from that place you can access that with complete control, because you are your body. Okay? Stop feeling like you're a victim to this, and perhaps it's only because you just don't know what's going on, but now you do, right? You see that thought come up and it creates this fear response, and you're now aware of it, and you also have this awareness of what the physiology is around it, and you can start to talk yourself down from that. Even if it's just as simple as, oh my gosh, I feel my heart rate going up. Why is my heart rate going up? Okay, all right, brain, you're in a fear response. And even if you're like, you don't